As far as the deceit of a sacrifice for human sin goes, let me state clearly, how dare a diseased species refer to a public murder as a loving sacrifice? On one hand, they say, God sent Jesus to be killed, to show how much he loved humanity. By this statement alone, Twistians are admitting that humans are demons, who find murder of another being a loving sacrifice. However, now on the other hand, it is not God who sent Jesus to be killed, but it is now Jesus who sacrifices himself to forgive the sins of humanity. Finally, the followers of Judaism say, but Jesus and Jehovah are really one. Now, either Jesus and Jehovah are schizophrenics, being one being with two personalities, or the Twistians are a bunch of nutcases. Which is it? Well, it doesn't matter, cause I'm going to hammer the truth out of this crap right now. First of all, throughout history and back in those days, public hangings were the norm. The cross everyone hears about is a deception. The cross that the man today called Jesus refused to carry was the same size as the crosses you see in mass grave burials, known today as cheap grave markers. In the day, it was a ritual for those being hung to carry their own little 4-foot-high cross across their shoulder. A cross was a symbol of crossing over from physical life to the world beyond physical life. This is 100% absolute truth. And Jesus tossed the cross at the guards back in the day, so they made another man carry it on behalf of the man today called Jesus. As written in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 23, verse 26. And when they led him away, they laid hold of one Simon of Cyrene, coming in from the country, and placed on him the cross, to carry behind Jesus. Every human has been lied to about Jehovah, who was not God, but a virtual devil in clouded disguise, and billions of humans have been lied to about the cross and the sacrifice deception. Let's get to more evidence that exposes these sickening lies. The Gospels are no different than the rest of the Bible. It offers one handful of truth and a few handfuls of lies and fairy tales. The book of the Acts and the epistles of the New Testament reveal lies through contradictions. What does the Bible really say in their own textual verses about the public murder of Jesus? In the book of the Acts, chapter 5, verse 30, the God of our fathers raised up Jesus, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree. And again, in the book of the Acts, chapter 10, verse 39, and we are witnesses of all things which he did both in the land of the Jews, and in Jerusalem, whom they slew and hanged on a tree. And reconfirmed one more time, in the book of Galatians, chapter 3, verse 13, Christ hath redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us, for it is written, cursed is every one that hangeth on a tree. What was the law that Christ supposedly redeemed people from in Galatians? The hanging tree curse is an Old Testament curse applied to humans that were to be murdered by sword and then hung. As written in Deuteronomy, chapter 21, verse 22. And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be to be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree. You want to know the truth about why they hanged the man today called Jesus? You want to know why they chose to release Barabbas and execute Jesus instead? Barabbas was only accused of crime, but Jesus murdered their belief in their God. This is 100% absolute truth. And just for interest, the real name of the man called Barabbas in the Bible is also known, in original Greek writing, as Jesus Bar Abbas. Now, that's interesting. It is now time to expose the creativity and deception behind the sacrifice lie. The lies of today claim Jesus sacrificed himself in blood to forgive and wash away human sins. The Bible even refers to Jesus as the Lamb of God, as written in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 29. The next day John saw Jesus coming toward him, and said, Behold, the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. Now where did the writers of 2,000 years ago get such crap? Where else? They created it out of Old Testament blood-worshipping rituals. You can see how the deception of the sacrifice lie is born, with just 3 sets of Old Testament verses about blood and lamb sacrificing in exchange for forgiveness. Written in the book of Numbers, chapter 28, verse 9. And on the Sabbath day 2 lambs of the first year without spot, and 2/10 deals of flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, and the drink offering thereof. This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath, beside the continual burnt offering, and the Lord's drink offering. And again in Leviticus, chapter 4, verse 7, and the priest shall put some of the blood upon the horns of the altar of sweet incense before the Lord, which is in the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall pour all the blood of the bullock at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Blood, on horns of altars, are sweet incense to the Lord? And the confirmation of lamb sacrifices to atone human sin can be read in Leviticus chapter 5, verses 5 to 6. And it shall be, when he shall be guilty in one of these things, that he shall confess that he hath sinned in that thing, and he shall bring his trespass offering unto the Lord for his sin which he hath sinned, a female from the flock, a lamb or a kid of the goats, for a sin offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his sin. Now you see, where the lamb sacrifice to atone human sins crap actually originated from.